All these beeps and whistles. Let me mute. There we go.
Beep, beep.
The Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Welcome, everybody, to Scarif Podcast. We're doing a live presentation again, as we do each Saturday, talking about the Book of Boba Fett. Rest in peace, Garza Fwip. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just change that. Don't put that out in the universe. And, yeah, we don't care where Boba Fett is at this point now, right? Brad, how's it going? Shanti, how's it going? It's really great to have you both here on the Scarif Podcast. You're home away from home, I'm sure. How's everybody doing?
Best way to spend a Saturday night.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Who do we got in the chat? We want to say hello to everybody in the chat. We got Vader, Rapina, Nicole. We got the guys from Escape Pod, Joker Voice. We just sent him a little bit of some Scarif swag. He got it today.
Dave.
Enjoy. Who else is in there?
Dave's
Dave?
here. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you as always. So we have, wow, Chapter 6. What's it called? The stranger coming in from the sand or something? The desert?
Stranger coming in the desert. That's what it is.
Oh man! So we got a lot to talk about. We have a very special guest, a new friend and wonderful supporter here with us. But we're gonna bring her in, and let's just get down to business on the Boba Fett refresh show. And we'd like to welcome Melanie to the channel. Melanie, how you doing? Say
Hi,
hello
how
to
are
the
you?
folks. Good.
How are you?
Fantastic. Good to have you, and good to have a wonderful little panel here. We've got Team Scarif and our friend Melanie, and look at all the people in the chat. Thank you guys for coming, and wow, look at all these people just kind of, they got their own conversation going sometimes. This is too funny. All right. So before we start, I wanted to remind everybody to check out the review shows. I know a lot of people don't do YouTube, so I started to extract the audio from these shows and put them on whatever favorite podcatcher you guys, subscribe to. But they have been going gangbusters, really good numbers after I posted them on Friday. We're going to do the same thing to this one. If you can't stay for the whole thing, make sure that you either catch it on the replay or catch it in audio form on our RSS feed, wherever you subscribe to the show. That being said, it's really cool, really awesome to have people obviously listen to us, and we love interacting with folks that follow us. And then obviously these live shows have been really great. Yeah, this is fantastic. So, Brad, I wanted to ask you, because we've been texting all day today. You just went to the store and picked up some nice little articles, didn't you?
Yeah. And I'll post some pictures on Twitter. But we found this antique mall, 2 stories, and the Star Wars section is unbelievable. So in no particular order, I'm going to show off all my toys. No giant Batmobiles or anything. These are all Han Solo frozen in carbonite pop.
Let's see. Hold on. There you go.
Christmas Yoda.
Oh, Christmas Yoda. So cute.
Let's see what else we got. One that really counts. Luke
Hey,
with the
little
child.
brother. And with the funky hairdo too.
The super confusing one of is it Vader? Is it Yoda? It's Vader? No, it's Yoda. You can look at that for. I mean, you'll never figure it out. It's just magic. And some. Well, it's not nearly as cool as I thought it was going to be, but it's a Han Solo frozen in carbonite. There actually looks pretty cool.
Oh wow! Actually, yeah.
On screen, it looks better than he does in person.
Is that like a little nightlight, a desk light?
I don't know, man. It actually doesn't
Who
look that
cares
great
what
in
it is?
person.
Let's see the. Let's see. Let me see the side of that.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it is.
I want that.
Yeah, I mean
That
it's
is cool.
I had never seen it before,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
and don't try to figure out how the light comes from carbonite. And then a
What else
couple
you got?
pieces, a couple things to hang up on the wall. She's amazing.
Was that R2 Katie or Katie?
KT.
KT.
And a good story behind that. If nobody's heard that, make sure you look that droid up.
Yep.
And that one.
Oh, very nice.
And of course, the last one we got is Chicago bound.
Oh,
Vader will be going to the Windy City.
oh, look at that.
So, electronic talking bank.
Wow.
And Ro, that's going to go out to you. Appreciate everything you've done for me over the years. I know you used to have one back in the day, and you said you had to part with it. So
I
I'm glad
did.
we'll
I
be able to
did.
fill that hole. See if she's paying attention.
Take it away, Shanti.
He's in there. Okay.
That's what she said.
There you go. So we'll be sending that out to you as soon as we can. Oh, wait, and I almost forgot the most important thing. Shanti, ask a yes or no question.
Ask a yes or no question.
Yes. What do you want to know about your future?
Oh, that's scary.
Oh,
Oh man.
come on.
Will I get Scarif After Dark off the ground?
You should not have come back.
Okay then.
Just so everybody in the chat, like full disclosure here, we did ask Vader ahead of time if this was going to be a good show, and he did flat out say no.
Let me ask again, mate. Let's do a do-over. Is this going to be a really good Scarif Live show tonight?
How is that possible?
Oh, man.
Melanie,
Wow,
you
we
got a question
suck.
for him?
No, I better not.
All right, well,
I'm
we'll think
scared.
of one. But yeah, so this is a Darth Vader Destiny Decider. I've never seen this before, so I had to have this. I won't tell you how much I paid for it, but it was well worth every single penny that I did.
Very nice.
But yeah, he'll be chiming in from time to time.
I have held it.
There you go. There you go.
That's what she
And
said. Thank you, Vader.
Shanti, I'm going to ask you about collectibles too, and Melanie, if you got something handy. But I wanted to. I got something in the mail from our friend Greg, who is the Rebel Base card, and he has been doing these incredible Topps style cards. And there I am with Greg lightsaber battling at the last year's Scarif Con. You can see him in the background here. He's in prison. I think this was either Celebration or C2E2. It's probably Celebration. But these cards are amazing. And he sent me a couple of sets already, but they are incredible. I gotta sit down with him because I really want to do some Red 5 Network cards. But these are really great. They have the perfect feel. They feel and look like the the Topps cards from back in the Olds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are amazing. Greg, props to you, my friend. And if you don't know Greg, he is the Rebel Base card. He does a podcast on card collecting and things like that. We've done many shows with him in the past. Really great show and really great guy. He helps me a lot during our little Chicago event. So it's fantastic. So what else can we talk about? I want to get to the topic, but I wanted to ask Brad, I know you've been thinking about some of our past shows, and I wanted to ask you if there's anything on your mind regarding some of the old shows that we've done.
Yeah, I mean, going to these, these antique stores, and people mentioned in the chat, like so many good collectibles that you can find at these shops. I had never seen this before, and it makes you wonder if Steve Sansweet has this collectible, and so that made me think about that one. One of my favorite episodes that we did was our episode. Look at that! Wow, you're quick. So our interview with Steve Sansweet, the one and only. If you don't know who he is, fix yourself.
I know, man. Really,
I consider him. Screw Pablo and everybody else. I consider him the premier Star Wars historian, going back to the very beginning. His Rancho Obi-Wan, the Guinness Book of World Records, biggest collection of Star Wars collectibles in the world. And I'm not sure, he with COVID protocols, he was not able to do tours. I'm not sure if that's changed or not. He also wrote the Star Wars encyclopedia a few years ago, which if you can get your hands on one of those, that's an amazing book still, even though some of it's been decanonized. I don't care. It's amazing information. So check out this interview that we did with him. What was that, about a year ago or so?
yeah. And actually, it was on May 25th, 2020, which is a very important date for us Star Wars people. Isn't that right? Absolutely. And I told I told Steven that when all this COVID stuff kind of dies down, I'm renting a bus, and we're gonna fill it with Star Wars nerds, and then just head on over to Rancho Obi-Wan.
Red 5 bus. That's what we need.
There you go.
It'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. Shanti, what about you?
What?
You got a collectible? You got a favorite episode? I know
Don't
Shanti.
have a collectible nearby.
Right.
It is your destiny.
But right before the show started, I did win a bid, my first bid ever,
Oh.
on a collectible on eBay. Thank you,
Very
97
nice.
Bravo, for that link. So I got my very first Black Series Princess Leia in her all white outfit from Hoth. So I'm really happy about that.
Very nice. And speaking of collectibles, we have Paul in the chat. Thank you very much, Paul. Collectibles. We just did a show with him. We recorded it a couple of days ago, and I'm putting that one together soon with him and Josh. And Josh, if you're in here, I wore my Hawaiian shirt because I didn't want you to, show me up. So feel left out. Absolutely. Yeah. What about? I know you just did 2 shows for us. Thank you very much. Pirates with Andrew and Andy, and what was the other one that you did?
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Frank.
With Frank, another patron supporter. Thank you very much for that. Those shows have been doing pretty good. One of the ones that I wanted to kind of point out is, and everybody seems to really have liked it, was our Western episode. And it's actually kind of prophetic. Prophetic? Like, I don't know. Not prophetic. It fits. Episode 83, we talked about the Western and
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. There you go.
There you go.
And yeah, it was a really great episode, and I think we're gonna be talking about some Western themes tonight, because this last episode of The Mandalorian. Oh, oops, sorry, no, not The Mandalorian. Of Book of Boba Fett was really, really Western motivated. So that's all I got for announcements, other than we just picked up a new subscriber on YouTube, Keely Chow. Thank you very much, Keely, for hitting that subscribe button. And oh, look who we got. Cam Ray is in the house. Thank you, Cam, for showing up and saying hello. Another wonderful YouTube channel that you guys have to check out. He's really, really funny.
How would you know?
I know funny.
I guess.
He's way more creative than we are.
Who,
Yeah,
Cam? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cam's very talented. I don't know
If I
about
can
Rob.
remind everybody that Monday is Star Wars Podcast Day. I know a whole bunch of people are doing special broadcasts on Star Wars Podcast Day. We're going to be doing some stuff throughout the day. I got John Tagg to show up at 7 o'clock on Monday night, and looking forward, and I hope this happens, talking to Stephen Kent at 10 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 9 p.m. Central on Star Wars Podcast Day. That it's commemorating the first ever Star Wars podcast back in, I forgot the date, but look it up. All right. Any other announcements?
Which podcast claims to be the first Star Wars podcast?
I would have to look it up, but yeah, it's the very first, I guess kind of the commemoration of the very first Star Wars podcast, and now there's 42,382,004.
Must be
Something like that. Yeah. All right. So, the Book of Boba Fett. I'm going to go around the table and see what your one sentence take is on this episode, starting with our wonderful guest, Melanie. What'd you think of that episode?
Well, it was better than it has been. And it had the only scary person that we've had so far.
Exactly.
Or creature, or person.
Entity? No. Character?
Entity,
Yeah.
Vision.
Absolutely.
Genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Scarier than than Boba.
And a lot scarier than the mod crew.
Mm-hmm.
Who isn't?
dang.
Shanti, one sentence.
I'm going to drop my F-bomb. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right.
The children are in bed.
I am 100% fucking in love with Cad Bane. That's my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. Where's Boba don't care? What about you?
Well, I keep it clean. I don't use those bad words like Shanti does. But I will say it is between both seasons of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, the best episode of all of them. Putting it out there.
Oh, and hold on a second. Let me. Oh, I got rid of it. But do you guys see the cameo in the cameo of actual Boba Fett? It lasted for like 3 seconds. He turned around and he went like this to Din, and then that was it.
He delivered that line perfectly.
Perfectly. Yes, he did.
Yes.
He did. Let's talk about that cold open. We obviously have a little situation here with the Pikes selling spice. And I had a friend of mine that basically said, I am today years old when I realized that Star Wars spice is basically Star Wars cocaine or something. I'm like, yeah. Would you think it was oregano?
What? Yeah. I thought everybody knew that.
Exactly. But, you have another one of Shanti's favorite characters.
To be fair, back in the day in some of the books, spice could have meant whatever the writer wanted it to mean.
Sure. Yeah.
But the most prominent was illegal drugs.
Cinnamon.
Illicit substances. Cinnamon.
Yes.
Put a little spice on your pancakes.
Spice it up.
Yeah, so that cold open, the Pikes get checked by Cobb Vanth. And I love that little scene, that little, we talked about Westerns. What'd you guys think of that?
Loved it. I loved it. It was pure Western. This whole episode was almost pure Western. What the hell?
I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Vader's drunk. Go home. Yeah,
think it
the
through
entire episode
really good.
was Western. Even down to him wearing the red sash. You got that cowboy look.
Flipping the gun, putting it in the holster.
Yeah.
Just like visually, it was just really reminiscent of the Western.
I need more of that character. I think he's great.
Yeah.
And not just because it's Timothy Olyphant. It's just he's just really good at playing that character. And I decided to watch Justified, and DB was totally right. He is totally that character in Justified planted into Star Wars, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about his character at first with in the Mandalorian, but definitely grown on me a lot.
What does that say? I heard last night Andrew and the gang over at Science Fiction Area were talking about that. What does that say about his character? You know, I mean, he goes over and he tells them to leave, but he holds on to the spice and he walks over to the box, kicks it over. Melanie, what do you think that says about his character like that?
I think he's seeing the big picture. He knows what's coming, and he knows that the townspeople don't really want to hear that right now.
Right.
So he knows it's coming.
And he tells when he tells his bar guy to assemble everybody that he's got something to say.
Yeah.
I think it also means that he was high as a kite when all that spice blew everywhere, and he was standing right in the middle of it. So he was tripping.
He was tripping. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's I think Disney Plus released a promo today that said the storm is coming. And I'm thinking, finally, next week is the last episode. I hope something's coming. But yeah, so getting to the next kind of sequence there, Mando arrives on the planet, takes a little trip, a little detour. Last episode, he tells Fennec that he needs to go see his little friend, and he takes a little detour. But how excited were you guys when the camera focused on that little antenna? You knew what was coming, right? Here's a funny thing, and I said it when we saw R2 in the season ender for the final season of Mando, right before Luke showed up. I think I was a lot more excited to see R2 than I was Luke, and I think this might be this is kind of the same thing.
And the way he was doing his little humming while he was guiding,
walking,
through the forest. That's amazing.
I noticed that too. And the CGI is great. R2 looks like he did back in 1983.
Was he CGI?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, damn, that is good CGI.
Push the button. Push the button, Brad.
Was he CGI?
There's no escape.
Okay.
So, one of our critiques early on in this series was that everything kind of looked like cheap. Everything looked low key. Like we and I mentioned that it seemed like the B team was handling the production on a lot of this stuff. But obviously, even from the last week's episode with Mando, the Return of the Mandalorian, they've been holding no punches back. There's a lot of detail that has gone into these last two episodes, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, this is where the budget is coming from." But some of these shots are, and I always, I get flack for my need for the cinematic, but some of these shots are beautiful. I think the shot of the ship arriving and going through the mountainscape there before he lands is gorgeous. Some of these wide shots are really great. I do wish that this show would have title cards when they land on a new planet, because it helps us kind of, figure out where everything is or what the name of the planet and stuff. And I kind of like that.
And I hate to say it, we had I know what to think about it at first. The droids building the little temple there, and I thought it was cool. They have no minds. Basically just a bunch of gonk droids put together that build stuff. And I do like there is a connection between there and Episode 8. They're very similar to what we see in The Last Jedi as far as Jedi Temple goes. So they're Jedi huts. I don't know what they are, but I thought that was pretty cool. And you could see how time progressed as they built up on those huts.
Yeah, I think they called them androids.
Androids?
Android. Is that Kathleen Kennedy calling you?
God, no. I'd hang up.
Wrong.
That's wrong. I like that. Again, there seems to be a lot more thought into these last two episodes. There seems to be more aliens. There seems to be more droid design.
No Boba.
No Boba. But I think you know, the one of my biggest criticisms early on was that, you know, Tatooine seemed really small, but I think you know, we're getting into that zone. But it's let's keep going here. So the CGI, the next thing, we have a good chunk of this episode devoted to, you know, Luke Skywalker and Grogu. I want to ask you guys what you thought of the CGI and the technology of bringing Luke back. Melanie?
I thought this was better than the second season CGI in Mando. And you can see
Absolutely.
the progression there. You can see it there. But do you know what I really thought about? I thought about, I wish that whoever did it could get their hands on Rogue One
Okay.
and redo it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, because it not so much the Tarkin, but the Leia at the end.
The
I think
Leia.
that
Right.
if they went back and did it, it would be really terrific.
You know, there's a rumor, and
It's very good.
I think, yeah, I was blown away. You know, even with Rogue One, when I remember when I was in the theater watching Rogue One, and I knew I had a suspicion that that they were going to redo Grand Moff Tarkin, and then the scene started, and I always expect like a cutaway to another actor's face, and then maybe a behind the shoulder thing, and then you hear his voice, and then you have that, you know, that scene play off. But the camera just continued, and the character just started to talk, and I'm like, holy crap, that's really good. This was the same way when Luke, you know, you get the shot of Luke meditating, and then you get the shot of Grogu, you know, kind of like playing around, and then go back to Luke. Those first shots of Luke are just amazing, are really fantastic. And I know that technology obviously has been refined through the work of, what is this, the YouTuber guy that basically, you know, fiddled with the deep fake stuff. And I think this is a combination of ILM's algorithm and the deep fake technology. But it's really great. I think we are like right there to maybe having new stories with the original crew. And obviously the rumors that have surfaced because of the IMDb post regarding Harrison Ford in this next episode, I think it's kind of scary, but it's exhilarating.
Yeah, a couple things on Luke. One, I don't know if the CGI was definitely amazing. I think he looked about the same, and I don't say it as an insult, but he looked about the same as he did in the Battlefront 2 storyline. If anybody's played that, but for anybody who has played that, you know that part of that storyline is about the only redeeming quality of the entire thing, which is canon, and that's exactly how Luke is supposed to act. So I thought it looked perfect, and I don't know if you guys caught this. You know, Ahsoka also mentions, you know, you're a lot like your father. She said something to that regard. But if you notice, it was very subtle about his facial expressions as well as how he talked. He was really channeling, and I don't know, you know, how they did it, but you could actually sense a lot of Anakin in his mannerisms, the way his inflection was when he was talking, and just his facial expression. So I thought they did a really good job on that, and it was subtle, but it was there.
I can't wait for the gallery episode, the behind the scenes on this episode, because, you know, I watched it. I've seen it 3 times already, and I watched, you know, Luke intently with. You can see the strands of hair like coming off the side, and you can see when he turns. I mean, it's phenomenal, and I want to see like, where does the CGI end and where does the actor, you know, come in? Because it's just, you know, Cam said it in the chat. It's 99.9% there.
I thought it was flawless.
There are still some points where you can see that the model's eyes are looking
Very minimal,
really weird, and that's the syndrome called the uncanny valley syndrome. But like I said, yeah, it is like right there.
I did make the joke that that's where all the budget went, because It just looked really, really good.
I'm here for it. That's fine.
And of course, people were
Absolutely.
complaining about it. I'm like, really? What's there to complain about? Like, I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, how priceless was it that they're walking along in the forest and he's just bumping Grogu along, just lifting him up, putting him down as they're walking along. I thought that
love
was
that.
priceless.
Yeah.
That's the kind of Star Wars humor I like.
One of the things also that I kind of complained about early on is that you don't hear a lot of the familiar Star Wars themes in this show. But you did hear a couple of familiar themes. The Force theme towards the end of the little training sequence. You heard Yoda's theme when Luke was telling Grogu about Yoda. So that was really nice.
Training droid. It had the training droid from
Right.
episode 4. Come on now.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any cooler than that.
Absolutely. Getting back real fast to the technology, so we're talking about the fact that there's this rumor that Harrison Ford's going to be, showing up in next week's episode, and I know people are wondering like how they're going to fit him in. Is he shoehorned in? Do you guys have any theories as to how he's going to show up, if the rumors are true? If not, no big deal. But any theories?
I mean, there's always the conflict between. Shanti mentioned it last week or the week before. There's an ongoing parallel conflict between Boba Fett and Han Solo.
Right.
They've got like a lifelong feud going. So, I don't know. But now that Boba's a good guy, I guess I don't know how that would work.
Maybe
Yeah.
Han
Unless
heard
he's
he
trying
got
to-
out of the Sarlacc pit and is wondering what the heck. Ow.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Melanie,
he wouldn't
any
know.
thoughts?
He wouldn't know whether or not he's good or not.
Benevolent crime lord now.
No.
Warm and fuzzy Tony Soprano now.
Benevolent crime lord.
The
Where did that? What was the source for the Harrison Ford thing? It wasn't
IMDb.
Screen Rant.
No, IMDb
Pro.
Pro had him listed. And the only thing that makes me think that it might happen is because early on I also had a prediction that if they do Luke, then each series from here on will have an original trilogy character. So Luke would be here, Han would be in this one, at the kind of at the end of this series. You'd have Leia in the Ahsoka, because we know through the books that Ahsoka was working with Leia's father. She started to be a fulcrum during and we don't know what the Ahsoka series is going to be about, but I can kind of see them going that route where we see Leia somewhere in there. And the other thing too that wouldn't surprise me if Harrison Ford or if Han Solo shows up is, we know that Harrison is currently shooting Indy 5, and I know that there are they've been working on de-aging Harrison for that movie, because I think it's going to start with a flashback of Harrison Ford on an early adventure like every Indiana Jones does. So I have a feeling like the ILM people are like, hey, we got a young Harrison over here, and then the Mando people are like, oh, okay. So I have a feeling that there's going to be some sort of synergy again, if the rumors are true, and this might be the impetus of bringing Harrison in. And obviously people are saying it's going to feel shoehorned, but if they do it, I don't know, if they do it in a way that kind of makes sense narratively, I would be so on board with that.
It could be as simple as a hollow, just as a teaser for what you're saying.
He may not play a huge role at all in the episode.
He'll show up and say, Luke, I'm sending Ben.
Yeah, exactly. It could be something really simple.
Oh, you think they're gonna have they could have a little? Let's see, how old is he now? He would be, what is this?
It's
5
Kenobi's
years
next,
after?
right? Yeah, this is 5 years after.
So it'd be about 4 years old ish. So, give or take.
All right. Any other final thoughts on the technology? Are we liking it? We're liking it,
I
right?
loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. All right, so then we go back to Luke, and he's talking to Grogu, but he's going to do a Vulcan mind meld with Grogu to make him remember. And this is, I guess, one of the things that we've been asking since the introduction of the character. Like, where was he, during the prequels? What's going on? But they introduce another scene from the perspective of Grogu as Order 66 is in high swing. What'd you guys think of that?
A tragic scene.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Grogu's face, looking at the, I guess the 501st there, shooting those 3 Jedi down, and still begs that same question that we've been talking about, like you said, of how did he get out? And, but he says it goes dark after that. So I'm pretty sure either, Sidious or Vader or one of the Sith Inquisitors actually just took Grogu for nefarious purposes out of the temple.
I think so too. I don't think he was rescued. I think he was taken. I like that word too, nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
He was taken.
I think I used it right too.
Yeah. Melanie, what do you think?
Yeah, that part. The Order 66 always gets me, no matter when they do it. But seeing it from that point of view was really devastating.
Yeah.
Because it is anyway. But to think that that's a child's vision of it.
Yeah.
Is particularly poignant.
Yeah, because how
Even if-
old is he in that point?
Right. I was going to say even a 50-year-old child, but
Yeah.
but still, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, as a concept, Order 66 is pretty tragic. It's how do you recover from that?
Yeah, we saw it in the Bad Batch, and one angle there we saw if you played the Jedi Fallen Order game, we saw another, when he lost his master and he had to escape from there, and there's as Melanie was saying, every reference to it is just horrific.
Yeah, so we had,
And it also mirrors what Din went through as a child as well,
Right.
right,
because we saw that point of view too.
and
So that binds them a bit.
it does, and I
That
think
common trauma.
we haven't seen the last, I don't think, of those flashbacks, or at least that story, because I'm still convinced that Din Djarin is somebody of importance, because his parents put him in that little shed to hide him, but he was wearing some really kind of regal outfit that I feel has some significance to his character. But I wanted to share this screen regarding that Order 66 thing. A lot of fans have been pointing out the symbol right here.
So you mentioned
And it's Barriss Offee's family crest, I guess, or symbol, which is kind of interesting. And I know that there was an actor that was announced that she was going to be cast in the Ahsoka series, and people were saying that she would be playing Barriss Offee. But that would be interesting, and we know that Mr. Filoni doesn't put stuff into his shows just because. So that would be interesting to kind of tease out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so there's some good chat going on right now as far as was he rescued or did they take him? The reason I'm leaning towards he was taken, one, they said it goes black for however many years, so he doesn't remember anything after that time, and two, and I think it goes into that whole Darth Sidious cloning process, trying to tie it all together with Episode 9, and we all know that Yoda has a high midichlorian count. We know that Grogu has a high midichlorian count. So I think it could have something to do with that. He may have been rescued and just blocked it all out. I still think it's for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, I think it would be more dramatic if he wasn't rescued by somebody, from the Jedi Temple. I think there'd be a lot more drama if he was taken by, by Palpatine or one of his Palpa peeps. Yeah, so like you said, anything whenever we see an Order 66, it's always heart-wrenching. But yeah, I mean, did we have any doubts that Grogu was even present during Order 66?
Didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It could have been his mama. We still don't know what happened to Yaddle. So maybe Mama Yaddle got him out.
Do you want to keep that a mystery? Like, do you have any interest, because we don't know anything about Yoda's race or his planet or anything about, like, would you be interested in that, or do you think that that's a mystery that should just be left a mystery?
That's a good question, because George Lucas had standing orders to leave his history alone. And, you know, they're starting to get into that.
I'm wondering how much they're going to give us, just because now you've given us Grogu, and there's going to be so much focus on him, I'm sure. So are we going to get any background on, like, where he came from?
Well, let's ask the expert.
You will meet your destiny.
There you go. I guess so.
Oh, okay then.
That was a little over the top for that question, but you know.
I don't think so.
I think I'm with Paul. I think I love the mystery. I never want to know Yoda's backstory specifically. I think Yoda is one of those characters that obviously we know a lot about him, but then again, we don't know a lot about him. So
I feel the same way. I was just wondering if anyone else felt the same way.
Melanie?
I never wondered about it. He was just there, and he was who he was.
There is one little detail when Din Djarin is talking to Ahsoka and basically says, "I want to see Grogu." There's that little exchange, and Din Djarin says, "I want to see him," and Ahsoka's like kind of hemming and hawing, like, I don't know if that's a good idea. But he turns, and he's, when he says, "I want to see him," they actually cut to a shot of R2, and R2 turns over and looks at Ahsoka, and you can hear R2 going, like he knows. Mm-hmm. Like if anybody has learned anything about the Jedi throughout the entire saga, I think it's R2.
He knows everything. And I think it's that scene too. I wanted to point out their amazing attention to detail. And I want to give it to Rosario Dawson on this one. The way she giggles like Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. And like somebody might just pass that over, whatever. But that's freaking amazing that it sounded just like she did from the cartoons. And, people were criticizing Rosario for not being enough like Ashley. And just that little detail, but yeah, R2 knows what's up.
Definitely.
I love Rosario.
Are we going to talk about this bullcrap ultimatum that Luke gives Grogu? I mean,
we'll get there. We'll get there,
because I'm dying to talk about it. I think it's crap, but I guess we'll get there.
I'm with Brad.
So there's this line. There's this line that Ahsoka tells Din Djarin. There's no place in the galaxy more safe than here with Luke. And again, we'll use the word foreshadowing, but when you step back and take a look at the bigger picture and you know what's coming, it's so heart-wrenching.
You know what's safer than that? A little Jedi with Beskar chainmail. That's what's safer than that.
If that happens though, man, I don't know. I won't be able to take it. All the cheese.
And you'll like it.
There is a very delicate Mando theme during this sequence when Din Djarin just really wants to go up that hill and see him, and it's so tender. It's these two or three little notes, which is basically a rehash of the Mandalorian theme. And the acting is great even under the helmet. You've got his voice that is just, sometimes you can hear it like breaking. He's just so emotional there. And he's got his body is like, he like half wants to go up there, but he realizes that Ahsoka might have a point. So it's really cool. Any thoughts on that sequence?
I know everyone very excited and very emotional to see Luke and the interaction between Luke and Ahsoka, but believe it or not, that is actually the one and only thing that actually made me tear up, because Pablo did such a great job with his voice acting that, like you said, even with him wearing the helmet and not seeing his facial expressions, absolutely nothing, I really did feel his pain of, but he's right there.
Yeah.
I just want to see him. And it's so heartbreaking because that
Came on
bond
his
was
way.
so strong in The Mandalorian, and I just want to see them together again.
And also, he's still got that little spot behind him in the N1 Starfighter.
Yeah.
That's built for Grogu. I'm telling you.
That's for luggage.
No, that's for Grogu.
And he's also coming off being told he's not really Mandalorian.
Right.
And so what does he have left? He has
Yeah.
Grogu. That's it.
That's interesting.
It's true.
Yeah, it's definitely true. There's a lot of things playing against. This as critical as we are about the series, and Kelly would love to my next comment here. There's a lot of themes here about and throughout all of Star Wars of family, but this one in particular. When obviously the Sand People. With Boba Fett, you've got the selection of family and the relationship that we know from Mando and Grogu. So there's a lot of stuff happening here that has to do with choice and family. And one of the things that I wrote in the notes, at 21 minutes 24, we finally hear the Force theme, which is amazing to me. Again, having the critique of, we don't hear a lot of familiar Star Wars themes. We get that Force theme, and it is great. It is great for me. What'd you guys think of Luke igniting his lightsaber and beginning to practice his form in the bamboo?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Anytime I see that lightsaber,
Yeah.
brings me joy.
Absolutely. And, Grogu is watching him. It almost seems like the shot is very similar to when he was watching Order 66. You had the reflection of the lightsaber in his eye during that sequence. He's watching Luke do his thing, and he's got the reflection, and he stops. And it's almost like he's remembering something, or he's continuing to remember or recall some memories from that as well. So, the shot was exactly the same. The camera kind of pushes in, and you see the light saber reflection in there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it almost looked like he was in awe of what he was seeing. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Luke's next line, "Get back up. Always get back up. Except that one time."
Uh-huh.
That's what I always,
Do as
people,
I say, not as I do.
people always, people are going to give this sequence a lot of crap because obviously we know what happens to Luke. We know emotionally what happens to him. We know what happens from the sequel trilogy. And it's, it's a shame, but it is what it is. And I know a lot of people were talking about how somehow, Dave Filoni and Favreau are going to retcon The Last Jedi or the sequel trilogy. I don't think that's going to happen. It can't logically. It's interesting. I think we are, I've seen somebody coin the hashtag all roads lead to, which obviously is a reference to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. I hate to use this phrase, but it is what it is. Sorry, Brad.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna say hubris just as a retort to that, just because you hate that word.
I hate that word.
And also, I thought it was a nice compliment that Ahsoka called him Master Luke. Just throwing Master in there. Recognizing what he's learned as a Jedi. I thought that was pretty cool that she would do that. And her lines of sometimes the teacher or sometimes the student guides the teacher.
Right.
Just perfect lines for Ahsoka to deliver, because she did that the entire Clone Wars series with Anakin. Anakin learned way more from her than she ever did from him. So I thought that was a perfect line for her to deliver in that case.
Dave Filoni directed this one, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. You do.
Yeah.
He did.
So obviously, you've got Dave Filoni, and you've got such a deep knowledge of the character of Ahsoka. So it doesn't surprise me. Not only you mentioned the mannerisms and things like that. So it's definitely going to tie all in. I just had one question. What was Ahsoka doing there anyways?
She's a friend of the family. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Togruta. You know them Togruta. Togruta don't mess around.
Did she just do that?
Yeah. Once the Togruta, never mind.
I'm sorry, the tequila's kicking in.
So are we going to talk about this ultimatum now, Ro? Are we there yet? Because I feel like
I want to know what his deal is with attachment. He seemed to turn out okay.
Yeah,
him
Josh
having been attached himself. What the hell's Luke's problem?
I like Josh's
What do you say?
comment there. It's really rich.
Yeah, I agree with
give up
Josh. I don't understand
it's up a
this
little further.
flip of the switch.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
Up three comments from that. Yeah, it's a gift. You can't accept gifts now. Jedi are not allowed to accept gifts from people.
Yeah,
that's called
that really
payola.
Did feel a little strange.
It's called payola.
I don't think the chainmail represents all that.
All right,
Maybe
looks like
he's
Brad.
not really giving him an ultimatum. Maybe it's just a test of some kind. Maybe he really isn't, and we don't know what his reaction is going to be based on his response.
So the thing with attachment, and I was posting all morning with somebody on Twitter. The thing about attachment. It's not a new thing. Obviously, the prequels that were obviously written by George Lucas has this whole thing about attachment. They talk about, the Jedi can't send emails because of attachment. Ha, ha, ha. But let me ask you guys this. Did the whole attachment thing shoot themselves in the foot? By introducing no attachment to the Jedi, does that kind of pigeonhole the I guess the aspect of becoming a Jedi? Is it too rigid? And obviously, from a creative standpoint, from behind the scenes standpoint, did they not know how to write themselves out of that trap? Are they standing firm to this no attachment thing, and this is why we see Luke giving him the ultimatum?
See, I thought Luke was going to change all that. Because
too.
For exactly for the reasons Josh and others said in the chat, that he believed that was too rigid. If Anakin didn't have to repress every single feeling that he had, there's a good chance he wouldn't have gone to the dark side if he had just been open about it. But repressing everything, that's how he led to the dark side. I thought Luke was going to change that, but not according to this episode. But again, like some people mentioned in the chat, who knows which way that conversation is going to go. They could completely switch gears on that one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Melody, anything?
Attachment's hard because if you think about it, Luke has no one to teach him, really, anymore. He has these books. And like any adherent to any philosophy, if that's all you have, and that's being reinforced over and over and over and over again in these books that he's reading, he's going to buy into it. And
it's interesting, too, because... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's just like anything where if you can go overboard with it. If he wants to really preserve that, if that's his overriding feeling that he's going to recreate this thing that was lost. Because he really doesn't... I mean, how much knowledge does he really have about how wrong it went?
Yeah. And maybe he felt the choice was so hard in Return of the Jedi, actually, and maybe he figured it is just easier not to form that attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even before that, in The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda actually gave him the choice. Stay here and finish your training or go save your friends.
Yeah.
We also don't know how long Ahsoka's been there.
Yeah.
So maybe they had some conversations.
I think I think they did because, there's a line that Ahsoka says to Luke, so much like your father. And, it obviously, we're catching them like in the middle of the day. They've had their conversations beforehand. It's something that was said off camera. And I'm hoping somehow, I don't know if we need to hear that. I think headcanon might be a lot more satisfying than actually seeing a scene of them talking, which is, the case with most headcanon, I guess. But it would be interesting to see, and then find out if these two are going to, meet again.
Well, and her inflection was very much, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's funny when I watched it the second time with my son, and then Luke posed that question, that ultimatum. My son right off the bat said, "Oh, Luke, don't be that guy."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh God."
I did feel that way.
I'm just glad he had Yoda's lightsaber. I thought that was ultra cool because
Yeah,
obviously
me too.
we didn't see it in Return of the Jedi, but you just had to assume that he had it on him somewhere. I thought it was really cool that he actually had it and he hung on to it.
Yeah, that made me really excited.
But what do you guys think is going to happen? What is he going to do? What is he going to choose? And again, knowing what we know about The Last Jedi and Luke's character at that point, I almost feel like this is kind of a setup to go into that path, that mental state that we find Luke in.
First of all, do we think Grogu's ever going to talk? And if so, how is he going to talk?
What's his first word?
Eggs.
Eggs. I don't know. Ask Vader. What's Grogu's first word's going to be?
Yeah.
Lack of faith disturbing.
That would be amazing.
That would be
That
cool.
would be amazing.
That would be epic.
I think someone in the chat mentioned it. Grogu's going to go the way of Tar Vizsla. He's going to get his hands on the black saber. He's going to be both Mandalorian and Jedi.
That's what I said, and Ro thought I was crazy today on Twitter. So you know what?
There's only like a million hints towards that, but
I want to see that little dude wield that thing.
that'd be legit.
You would.
With the Yoda lightsaber too. Come on now, dual wielding. just a blur, just a black and green blur just flying around.
That's gonna be all decked out, chainmail,
Yeah.
dark saber, lightsaber, helmet.
I don't know about that.
Whatever.
Well, you asked us.
You asked, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that would be interesting to really see Grogu make that choice. But again, I have a feeling that because we have the
If Luke strikes out, that would just be hilarious. If Grogu just went for the chainmail right off the bat, that would just be freaking hilarious.
yeah,
Well,
I mean,
Choose the lightsaber as a trick, and then steal the chainmail and say peace. I'm sorry, I'm tipsy.
yeah, there's no season 3 of The Mandalorian without Grogu choosing the chainmail.
He's
Just
gonna
makes
help.
sense.
He's gonna help Bo-Katan take the place back.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Mando season 3.
It's gonna be all about Boba Fett. It's gonna be the Mandalorian, all about Boba.
Can you imagine what a switch? I would love that.
One episode with Din
Yeah.
Djarin.
I'm just waiting for the Constable Zuvio series.
This definitely did feel like two completely different shows spliced together. And I'm pretending that episodes 1 through 3 don't exist. And I would have rather, I don't know if it was Andrew or DJ or maybe both, that they said that it probably would have been better to just maybe do maybe like an hour and a half or 2 hour special.
They
Like,
should have done it.
I
like
would-
Star
yeah, I would
Galactica did
love-
Razor.
Even you could maybe take out 4, 5, 6, and 7 maybe should have been melded together into just this movie released on the streaming app, just to kind of explain everything before you get into season 3, and I would have accepted that.
It's so weird to me that, like, there's a lot that has happened in the last 6 episodes, but as far as a Boba Fett show, a lot hasn't really happened.
It's
We
not.
needed this. We needed this less than we needed the Solo movie.
If you
And
were
that's-
doing this to misdirect with the title of the show, I guess maybe I can understand that. But again, at the end of the day, I still think it was poorly executed. Only up until we got to like episode 4 and 5, and then you brought all that Tuscan stuff, which I loved, but I don't feel like you delved into it deep enough and spent enough time. So by the time you slaughtered them all, it was kind of like shocking, honestly. I was like, okay, well, that storyline ended quickly, and I didn't feel like it served any purpose. I mean, it did and it didn't. I don't know.
They had just rebuilt from Anakin killing every single one of them, and then they got wiped out again.
But I'm definitely with Brad. I really just don't care about Boba at this point. I don't care what happens to him. He could die at the end of this show, and I really wouldn't give a crap.
There's a lot of
you need some more tequila.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk. I was on a space earlier. I was in a room in Spaces earlier talking about this. Somebody had mentioned a book on indigenous people regarding leadership. And obviously we know that George Lucas took a lot from, legend and history and religion and stuff like that. And I can kind of see Dave Filoni kind of maybe introducing some modern myths to new Star Wars. And obviously there's been a lot of talk about indigenous people. I guess their journey through this series regarding leadership and how Boba Fett is going to come back and lead these people. As far as, I had this question of like, I don't see how Boba Fett wants to rule the underworld with respect. It's just kind of odd to me, but it was pointed out to me that I guess it's his way of maintaining control and possibly giving the Tusken Raiders a chance to live and thrive. But first he has to maintain control. It seems a little bit like a stretch, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Guess how mad Shanti's going to be when Boba Fett kills Cad Bane in this last episode. Because people have been talking about that rematch for years now, since I think it was Clone Wars. Yeah, right. It's Clone Wars that happened. I'm just saying. Here's the thing: even Cad Bane called him a cold-blooded killer.
Yes,
and that's not how he's acting at all. Like I don't surviving a near-death experience like that. I don't think that would completely change your outlook on life. And yes, he did get tortured by the same people before they accepted him. So I don't think all that would change his demeanor. So it's
that's why. Yeah, I mean that's why it's kind of a little bit of a mystery to me.
He's going to kill Cad Bane. Sorry, Shanti.
What?
Wouldn't he be more angry?
Yeah, I would figure.
So?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if he's figuring out that maybe it wasn't these stupid bikers that killed the Tuskens and somebody is kind of playing him, I would be like really pissed. Unless he's he's keeping it close to the cuff, and we're gonna really see Boba Fett and what he's all about in this last episode.
Do we have a runtime for the last episode?
No,
I don't think so.
And I'm wondering too who's directing that last one. I have a feeling that I have a feeling it's going to be Robert Rodriguez. Because I think it's gearing up to be, everybody's talking about the war is coming, the battle is here, the storm is arriving, and Robert Rodriguez is well known for his action.
I'm already fuming inside.
I know, but the mods couldn't catch the Buick,
Oh, man.
Can we talk about Cad Bane now?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And the most epic entrance I've ever seen.
Yeah. Why? Okay, here's a question. Why do Star Wars characters always park their ships way out there?
Because it's badass, man.
He got the Krennic parking. He took the Krennic parking out there. You have to walk.
Because they watched Lawrence of Arabia, and they thought that Omar Sharif's entrance was awesome cool. I'm going to do that when I get there. It's going to be nice and quiet. They're just going to see me ride up like a mirage.
This could not have been more Western. Scene.
This scene, everything about it, from the townspeople going inside. There's one shot where the girl opens the door and the window and looks out. I mean, everything.
Classic.
The only thing that was missing, honestly, was the tumbleweed.
I'm telling you, a tumbleweed.
Yeah,
and the Bad and the Ugly soundtrack.
Yeah, I wanted that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so totally Clint Eastwood, like.
But it was great. I can't wait to see more of Cad Bane. I hope that he gets
Yeah,
really entrenched in the story here.
I thought Cobb Vanth. I mean, he must have some kind of armor or something underneath his shirt because, I was watching. I'm like, oh, Cobb's gonna die. Like, there's
shot in the
no
shoulder.
competition between these two at all. Cobb's dead, so he must have had some good armor underneath the shirt or whatever.
He got
got
shot in the
clipped.
shoulder. Yeah, he got clipped.
Somebody did a frame by frame, and you can see
was it in
that
the shoulder?
You could see it.
it was like
Yeah,
right
you could
up here.
definitely tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that deputy should have had a red shirt on.
That deputy's an idiot. He deserved it. And I think that was definitely a warning. I'm not sure if he really had. I do wonder if Cad Bane honestly really had any intention of actually killing Cobb Vanth.
No, because
And
he
only
asked him,
keep
"Is that a friendly warning or a threat?" Later on, I think he's gonna tell him it was a friendly warning.
Yeah.
So I think that
Now, did you have a problem with the look? Because I have been seeing again a lot of complaints about him not
Looking
looking
perfect.
like the animated series, and I'm watching it now for the first time, and I'm in season 4 now, and I just watched a whole bunch of episodes that focused on Cad Bane, and to be quite honest, I think they did a great job. And this is something that should not be harped on.
No, that's going to be a cosplay right there for years to come. Just
Oh,
The
yeah.
mods riding on Vespas, that to me was something to critique. This, I was totally okay with.
and his
Yeah.
voice, good lord.
I actually
Perfect.
preferred the voice here than I did in the animated series.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna do some research and see who did the voice.
And it's the same guy who apparently does the voice in the animated series.
Oh, okay.
I just loved how calm, cool, and collected he was. It just made him so much more imposing. It makes him so much more unpredictable. You don't know
Or
what he's gonna-
unpredictable.
No, that's what I meant. Unpredictable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Well,
what I
and it
loved
had
about
that-
it. The
It
silence.
had that very Western trope too of
Oh, it's
where
great.
the bad guy comes in and everything stops.
It's
Right.
great. Time
Everything.
stands still. Yeah, it's
Everything's
Yeah.
quiet. You hear
this
the
was my
wind.
favorite scene in the entire
It was great.
show.
It was the best
Very
sequence of the
imposing. Yeah, very imposing, very threatening, and like you said, I mean, just very deliberate. I mean, he doesn't even look at him
He doesn't even say his
halfway
name.
through the conversation until the end.
He asks him, "Who are you?" He doesn't even
Yeah.
utter his name once. It was just such a badass moment. Even him walking away, it was just amazing.
Let me ask you this: what? Yeah, Cad Bane needs some Visine. I mean, it's a long walk, R2.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
long walk to through the desert there. Let me ask you this: Cad Bane basically tells Vanth that about Boba Fett. He says that line that Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer and he worked for the Empire. What do you think that? Why do you think that he told him that? What is? It seems like a setup for another plot point, or
Because the only thing that Cobb knows him as is the no, actually he doesn't know Boba at all. I guess he's just trying to break that any potential alliance that he has there.
interesting.
Yeah, because he knows that Mando is helping Boba, right? So I am wondering if he's doing that to kind of confuse Cobb. And now, who do I trust? Do I go by what he's saying, or do I go by what Mando is telling me? Now I don't know. Which side should I be on?
That makes it easier to do nothing.
Or should I stay out of it altogether? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what he asked him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sean says, how does Cad Bane know that Cobb had the armor? Oh, yeah, because
he said, "Oh, you should have kept the armor or whatever," before he shot him.
Good question. I don't know. We'll probably read that in a comic book. A one-shot.
Somebody's reporting back to him.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good observation.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
has to be reporting back to him. How else would you know that?
Yeah.
I think it's Max Rebo.
Frickin' Rebo.
That guy is behind it all.
I just like to see one of those hero scenes where Rebo's walking away from the exploding. Because
Slow-mo.
the badasses don't look back when there's an explosion.
That's
It's
right,
just
Brad.
Rebo,
That's
boom.
totally right.
Yeah.
And you see a blue paw just come into the shot with a cigarette and just goes.
There you go.
He doesn't have a paw. He's got a
No one should
Yeah,
ever
or
entrust Star
hoof
Wars to
or
us.
whatever. Cam, thank you very much for coming by. He's gonna say goodbye, but have a good night.
Do you want to talk
Hey,
about?
Ro, you mentioned the visuals.
Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to the sound and
Oh.
how excited George Lucas would be or would have been. I'm pretty sure he probably watched this episode, but to hear the engines of the N1 Starfighter, which just sounds like a tricked out 1950s
Yes.
racer.
Right.
That he literally just channeled George Lucas with that one.
Absolutely.
And that has to be just a complete nod to George Lucas on that one.
That is very American Graffiti. And there's a shot when he's when we see him flying over, and I can't remember if it was this episode or last episode, where he's flying over with the Jawas, and the Jawa has the skull.
That was this one.
There's a shot of the N1, going around the engine pan, which is like a 57 Chevy. The engine pan rattles just like the car did in American Graffiti. As little details like that just make it so wonderful.
They need to hurry up and make that thing a toy so I can
I know.
put it with the rest of the stuff I don't need.
Right. Yeah, that was the tribute to American Graffiti, not the mods. Absolutely. I mean,
Hopefully Cad Bane kills every single one of those dudes.
yeah.
With you, Brad.
I think Special K should have at least killed one or two of them when he was in the back to tank chamber. Punk
can't
ass.
wait.
Over the head with their own
Working
arms.
with Mando.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, one last episode and we're kind of done with the story. It just seems weird to have, 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, which is actually really 5. It's weird.
So Kenobi's next, right? Do you think this is going to connect in any way to Kenobi, or do you think Kenobi is going to be just a completely separate story? Because it seems like all of these things are spin-off series, from what I'm gathering. Ahsoka, Kenobi, this. So is it going to connect in any way? And how?
Only that we talked about Kenobi a long time ago when they first mentioned it, and how I thought that was going to be a small scale sort of story. So if you want to keep mentioning the cartels or the syndicates or whatever, it could be connected through that way, Crimson Dawn, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But besides that, I don't see how it really could be.
Okay.
And Joker has a point there. He's dead during the events of this show.
Well, yeah, it splits the
That's true.
difference.
That's true.
It splits the difference of 3 and 4.
I forget about the timeline sometimes.
I know. Yeah. Because you're drunk.
Yeah.
I don't see it connecting to the Kenobi series. Similar to, I think the series that this would probably connect to is Ahsoka.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't see anything happening with Andor either. I think Andor is kind of a one-shot series.
That's before Rogue One.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I just want to see some Inquisitors. That's all I want to see from.
Yeah.
Kenobi.
And I think we're going to get them. Absolutely.
We could ask the expert if the last episode is going to be worth it.
Let's do it.
Shanti, would you like to do the honors and ask him?
Will the last episode of Book of Boba Fett be any good?
Wait, has he said anything positive yet?
No.
Well, anyway, we'll just ask him.
I hope so for your sake.
Wow.
Right.
Well
There you
then,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
There you
Alrighty
go.
then.
Excellent.
That's about as honest of an assessment as you can get.
All right. Any final thoughts before? Let's talk about Garza. Let me pour one out for Garza.
I know I wrote R.I.P., but it's a joke. I honestly don't think she's dead. You didn't see
somehow
it.
we're
You
sort
saw
of
the explosion from the
expanding
outside. If I don't see bodies
You don't see
lying
it,
on the
it didn't happen.
ground,
Right.
it didn't happen. Sorry.
Right.
I told somebody, did they Captain Phasma Garza?
Oh, God. Why?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you're to bring in somebody like Jennifer Beals just to have her waltz around a bar in a nice outfit and then all of a sudden blow her up. But I'm hoping that she's not dead. I want to really see what the connection is between the bar and the underworld. There's definitely, a story there. So I'm hoping that that somehow, something happens there. I mean, we got one episode left and a lot of loose ends to tie up.
How Garza survived.
Yeah.
The loose ends are for characters not Boba that we actually care about. Like,
That's so weird.
Yeah, we care about Cad. We care about
I care
Garza
about
and
Garza way more than I care about Boba.
Max Rebo. We care
Max,
about
yeah.
right.
So there's a lot of characters we care about a lot more.
Oh my God! I just realized
Uh-oh.
the drummer droid. It's an RO unit. Row.
Okay.
Dude, wait a minute. It is. It's a black R2 unit with the pointy head. It's an RO. I'll look it up. I'll post
So
and tag
you're a
you guys.
pinhead? That makes sense.
It's gonna be a weird Photoshop, bro.
You see, Brad? See what I have to? You see what I have to deal with when you're not here? Yeah, poor Garza. And I think I saw that Jennifer Beals signed up to do one of those Law and Order New York shows.
Yeah, it said that.
So I have a feeling this might be the end, but
That's sad.
it is. It is.
She was really interesting, so mysterious. I loved her.
Yeah, and I read an article that, and I didn't notice it. She has a scar on her neck,
Yeah.
like right here, and Jennifer Beals asked for that scar just to kind of give her a little history, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
I thought was also cool. I think this is the first time we've ever seen male Twi'leks without much clothing on, because it's always been the women. So I thought it was kind of cool that they finally introduced the fact that some people in the Star Wars galaxy might actually like to see the males as well as the females. So I thought it was kind of cool that she had one of those, a male in her employ as well.
Yeah,
Something for the ladies.
Exactly.
that's true. That's true. What else?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I mentioned this on Twitter. For me, Star Wars really has always been about the music. I'm very much about my senses, sight, sound, all of that. So for me, this episode looked like Star Wars, felt like Star Wars, sounded like Star Wars.
Even the last one too.
Yes, it really, really did. And just hearing that John Williams-esque type music in this episode immediately just transports me and takes me to the original trilogy and even the prequels. And that's really what I wanted. And again, I get it. This is Star Wars is a space Western, so I understand the more Western type theme in Mandalorian and even in Book of Boba Fett. But the whole reason why Star Wars feels like fantasy and not sci-fi, in my opinion, is the music. So I definitely would have preferred more John Williams type music, even in Mandalorian, in both of them.
Right. Joker, you forgot one, the person that's scoring the Book of Boba Fett. Ludwig is doing the themes. He had done the main themes, but what's the other guy's name? Kevin Shirley, something Shirley.
Kiner, I think. Joker said.
No, Kevin Kiner does Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else is scoring the Book of Boba Fett, not Ludwig. But yeah, so any final thoughts on this episode? What do you guys expect next week around? It's gonna be epic. We've gotten so much in this Joseph Shirley. There you go. Thank you very much. We've gotten so much information from the first 6 episodes that normally we would probably be able to kind of guess what's going to happen. But yeah, episode 7, it's like, what the hell? I mean, we know a storm's coming. We know the war is about to, start. We got the Pikes versus everyone else. It's going to be weird. And, I hope it's 90 minutes. But, it's interesting. You've got the storyline throughout this series, and then all of a sudden you introduce, Grogu and Luke Skywalker. Are they gonna come into play in this last episode? Why even bring them in during this series if they don't, have any bearing on the finality of this series? It's just it's kind of weird to me. But I'm glad we saw Luke. I'm glad we get a little Grogu. It almost seemed like the entire series was kind of like a tease and a preview for everything that Filoni is prepping to do in the next year and a half, 2 years.
I think one way or another, Cad Bane is going to remind Boba Fett who he really is. And if we have a Boba Unleashed versus Cad Bane scene, could all be worth it just for
that'll
the
make me
latter
happy.
half of this series.
That will make me change my mind about this show completely. Because while I loved this episode and I loved the last episode, it still hasn't changed my mind about the show as a whole, just because of what you did and how you gave us essentially 2 stories that were just a mishmash.
Yeah.
And I want to see him ride the Rancor. I actually would like to see that.
That's too funny. Sure. All right. So, any final thoughts, Melanie?
Well, I hope we continue to look at the failings of the Jedi, but also the failings of the Creed of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Because it's similar. They're both restrictive. They're both archaic. It's like, Mando can't make amends because the place he has to make amends doesn't exist. So what does he do?
Nice.
Right.
It's restrictive.
And they seem to be on polar opposites. They're polar opposites. We had that little explanation in the last episode where, the armorer was explaining the Jedi code to Mando, and Mando says, "Oh, it's the opposite of what we." So yeah, I mean that would be an interesting thing to kind of tease out in some series. I think Ahsoka is going to maybe concentrate on a little bit of that. But we obviously, again, we don't know what they're going to be doing. They still have to find Ezra and Thrawn and all the people from the animated series. But those would be actually really cool themes to kind of, pick apart.
Because that'll be there no matter what Grogu chooses.
Right.
Right.
There was some quick talk regarding Grogu and his significance to Star Wars going forward. And I think that Lunar Girl just said it, Book of Boba Fett is just a puzzle of a bigger story. But so is Grogu. And I think, a lot of people, he's cute and he's green and he's Baby Yoda and stuff. But what do you guys think about Grogu being kind of a key to the future of Star Wars?
If he stays with Luke, apparently he gets killed by Kylo. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a little bit more morbid. I think he's dead. He's going to be dead at one point.
also, just a quick thing. Joker mentions in the chat about the armorer blaming Bo-Katan for the purge. I did like how the armorer talked about that. This was in the last episode, but the way they portrayed Mandalore in the Clone Wars series, I was not a big fan of that because they're supposed to be the. Shanti, did you finish Clone Wars? Or are you still working on it?
I'm halfway through season 4 right now. I've been watching it like all week.
Okay, so I mean the way they represent it is so much different than the way it was before. They're supposed to be the Spartans of the Star Wars universe, and it was quite a bit different there in those the waning years of the Clone Wars. So I kind of like how she alluded to that a little bit, and then what Bo-Katan did. I thought that was pretty cool tying that together.
That's terrible, Vader.
Dang.
Savage.
Yeah. I watched the Mandalorian episode with Bo-Katan when she came on board, and again, just forgetting how incredibly awesome that was to see all three of them. I loved when they all, they rescued him from that the boat, and they all started to take their helmets off, and Din Djarin's like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
Those are like subtleties that, at first watch, you're introduced to these things, but you don't really catch it until like later on. So it was beneficial for me to kind of go back and see some of that stuff. Really cool. So before we sign off, we have a little contest and a giveaway. But but you know me and my graphics. We're gonna play a 1-question sentry mode, and see if anybody in the chat wants to win. I'll show you what I'm putting up to give away.
This is Sentry Mode.
So, a friend of mine, John Rodriguez, local artist. I'm going to put this up full screen here. Signed by him. There's his signature. But it's obviously we're talking about Luke Skywalker today and the Book of Boba Fett. It's a very beautiful piece. I have the Empire Strikes Back AT-AT and a couple of Imperial images that he created. But let's give one of these away. The only rule here, so we're going to ask a question. Brad is going to ask a question. And folks in the chat, anybody can win. Hold on a second here. But we're going to announce the winner next week on the final episode of Scarif Live regarding the Book of Boba Fett. But let's ask the question and see who wants to win. We will pick randomly from the chat. So when Brad asks the question, just go ahead and put it in the chat, and then we'll assign a number and then do a count and then see who wins it. And you guys are going to have to come back next week when we talk about this final episode, Chapter 7 of the Book of Boba Fett, to hear your name, and we'll send this out to you. It's a beautiful piece, apt for framing, and there he is, Red 5 himself.
Am
Ready,
I allowed
Brad?
to play?
So you want to allow them?
Melanie and Shanti, you're allowed to play.
Okay.
You want to allow them to answer via Twitter in the week to come, just in case they can't think of it right away. Of course, they would not use Google. We trust their integrity. But we want to allow them to answer via Twitter and then still tune in next week.
I think it would be more challenging if all the answers would come in the chat right here and right now before we pack it up.
All right, well, here we go. Single fire sentry mode. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but here we go. So in a conversation with his Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, Luke mentions his 2 friends that left for the Imperial Flight Academy. Most people can think of one of those friends that he has, his best friend. What were the names of his 2 friends that left for the academy?
Good question.
Red 5 himself. There's R2 in the X-Wing, a beautiful piece by John Rodriguez. Check him out.
Answered.
And there's a helmet in the sky, the X-Wing. And we're looking for both the friends. We are looking for both friends. So I saw that. Hilarious. Shanti wishes. Ask the question one more time, Brad.
All right. Who are Luke Skywalker's 2 best friends that left for the Imperial Academy? He wanted to join them, but Uncle Owen needed him back on the farm, his water farm. What were their names?
His water farm.
This is sort of a hard one because he says this line very quickly in episode 4.
But it should be ingrained in your brain, so there's no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like people either know their Star Wars or are really fast with the Google machine. Very good, guys.
Very good. So next week, we will announce it at the end of our episode.
Ro, make sure you write those names down before we close out this chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, and you know, this, we had given away one of his prints years ago. I think Rob got one, the AT-AT. You know what? Actually, let me show you some of the other works that he's done. I thought I sent you one, Brad. Didn't I send you one?
Oh no! Probably. You sent me all kinds of stuff.
I sent you the Imperial one. So here's
Oh,
another
and
one.
Trevor mentioned while you're putting that up, Trevor mentioned deleted scene. There is an amazing deleted scene with Luke and Biggs on Tatooine. So make sure, I'm sure you just find it on YouTube nowadays. Look up that scene, Luke Skywalker, Biggs, Tatooine. It's a great scene. Should have kept it.
I like that one.
Oh, the
It's
old
nice, too.
propaganda. The old propaganda. There you go.
For the Empire.
I like the Vader one.
Hey, we'll also have some more giveaways coming up. When you buy as many, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you've seen how many pops I have on my wall. Occasionally, you buy an extra pop that you didn't realize you already had. So
That happens.
I definitely have a few pops that I want to give away to you guys. Two of which are a gold Rey and a gold Darth Maul. Also have a Cara Dune and a Kylo Ren if you're into that sort of thing. So we'll have those to give away soon. We'll keep you updated.
Oh, this one's signed by our friend Yoshi Vu, who worked on the film.
Cool.
Let me get that one.
No. This is why I need more wall space.
Is that Dak taking on the entire Empire by himself?
Yep.
Dak said he's got it.
How did that work out?
Yo mama. Excellent. All right. So we see some answers coming in. Like I said, we will read the answers or read the winner next week when we do our final review of the Book of Boba Fett. That should be a gas, as the kids are saying nowadays.
Yes. Wow.
Damn you old.
Damn, you're old. Yeah, I was going to say. What a 60s thing to say.
See what I have to deal with, Melanie?
Hey, Ro.
Yeah.
I drank this whole thing, so
Nice.
this is about the scuttlebutt, right?
This is about the scuttlebutt. Once again, thank you everybody in the chat for coming on by to listen to us talk about the Book of Boba Fett. Like I said, if you didn't catch most of it and you want to listen to it again, obviously listen to the replay, or this episode will be available on our podcast RSS feed, wherever you download the show or some of your other favorite podcasts. Look for this episode in audio form as well. Which I'll do that in the next couple of days. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you had fun talking and breaking down the episode. Thank you so much.
It was a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
Melanie.
Thanks for asking me.
And where can folks find you if they just want to say hello?
I'm on the Twitter at Melanie Marquita.
Very nice.
Yep.
And Shanti, thank you very much for having a couple of drinks with us.
Sweet.
Yeah, very nice. Brad, I know you have to use the little boys' room,
Oh.
but no Darth Vader?
I was going to let him
Wait,
take us out. If you would ever end, I was going to let him take us out. Good Lord, Ro.
All right, what is Darth?
Take us out? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
What
Not
is
like
Vader?
that.
All right,
Not like
what is
Rogue One
Vader?
style.
Rogue One. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. What does Darth Vader? What does Darth Vader say at the end of a Scarif scuttlebutt?
Wait. Let's
Do over.
That's how we started this episode.
All again.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
There you go.
And that's the scuttlebutt. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Enjoy Star Wars responsibly. And that's the scuttlebutt.